Welcome to our nation's capital and historic McDonough Arena. Two teams on opposite ends of the Big East spectrum will face off as Georgetown welcomes in Marquette. Howdy Hoops fans, Jeremy Huber here with Eric Tebow. And Eric, of course, story of this game, it's the standings. Marquette looking maybe for the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. Georgetown trying to finish their season strong.
We have Marquette that's trying to play for a top 2 seed in the Big East Conference tournament, but also solidify their NCAA tournament bid, which is still right kind of on the bubble.
Yeah, of course, you look at the standings, and DePaul, of course, head and shoulders above Marquette in that battle with Butler for the number 2 seed. Also, some other teams right behind. Big for Marquette today to get the win. Georgetown, they'll be in that opening round matchup. Now look at our players to watch. We start with Marquette and Selena Lott.
Selena Lott has been a consistent scorer all year, but also one thing that's been a little bit underrated about her is her playmaking, averaging almost 6 assists a game. It's hard to find that balance for players, and she's managed to strike it well.
Lott, of course, picking up her game from last year. Now to our player to watch for Georgetown. It's the transfer from Memphis, Taylor Barnes.
Barnes with just 11 points away from 1,000 for her career. She's had to carry the scoring load a lot for Georgetown over the course of the season, and then they'll need her again today on senior day.
We'll see what she can do. Coming up next, it's the Golden Eagles and the Hoyas from D.C. here on the Big East Digital Network, brought to you by SoFi. Back in our nation, tap your starting lineups. Golden Eagles going with the familiar starting lineup: King, Lott, Spingola, Van Clunen, and Anderson. This group has been together a bunch this year. As for Georgetown and their starting lineup, Hoyas, theirs pretty notable as well. They've been with this group: Jones, Sagiarese, Kovačikova, Barnes, and Kalava. Again, Eric, one of the things for them is trying to find scoring out of this lineup.
It has. It's been a challenge all season. They have a little bit better rhythm now with a 4-guard lineup. This is, I believe, the 8th consecutive game now that they've started this group together.
Jimmy Howard telling us that those 4 guards kind of giving a little more energy, and that's big, as we know the past Georgetown teams under Coach Howard, that energy and that defensive grit, trying to find some more of that this year.
They're starting to play with a little bit more tempo defensively. Kalava is going to protect the rim a little bit for them. It's going to be up to their guards to gang rebound today against a bigger Marquette team.
We are underway. Marquette in the navy blue, Hoyas in the gray. So glad to have you along on this Sunday from our nation's capital. This is Lott on the drive. Dishes down low. Anderson almost had it taken away. King with the pull-up, and that one falls.
King's done a nice job this year as a freshman coming in. Heralded scorer that's had to play the point and distribute a little bit more, but you can see right there she's a scorer at heart.
And that's what Megan Duffy telling us, that, again, having to kind of switch roles for the good of the team. That shot missed by Jones, and here come the Golden Eagles. Spingola takes it back to King. Here's Lott. And Clunen will take the long 2 off the mark, batted around. It will stay this way with Marquette.
That's going to be one of the challenges right there for Georgetown. You can see at each position Marquette has a little bit more size. Georgetown with a good blockout right there, but they couldn't come up with a loose ball.
Play here, and Kovačikova getting a hand on it, hoping for the tip. Knocked away, ends up in the hands of Van Clunen. Little contact, no foul, and here come the Hoyas. Will cycle it back. Sagiarese, what a story. Came into the season as a walk-on, finally got a scholarship. Now she's in the starting lineup. Kovačikova dishes off, an offensive foul on the guard for the Hoyas.
Georgetown with basically 3 point guards. Kovačikova, one of them, she got downhill there, but Marquette knows they can help a little bit off of Kalava as a spot-up shooter. They're able to slide in and take the charge.
Almost taken away. Spingola kicks it back now a lot, and that'll miss everything inside.
Georgetown done a good job early getting around on the post. Marquette likes to go high-low and look for that lob over the top. Georgetown fighting them, making that hard for that entry pass to go in.
George scoring early on in this one, 90 seconds down. Kovačíková in the lane off the mount. And it'll be rebounded by Marquette. Van Clunen trying to post up down low. Now Anderson with the lob inside. Nice catch by Van Clunen, couldn't put it away. Here comes Barnes. Under 20 on the shot clock. Now Barnes thought about the three, now drive it in again. This time pulls up on Van Clunen, can't hit the shot.
Van Clunen now 2 or 3 times in great help position. She's letting Kailova float around the foul line. She's staying home in the paint, protecting the rim.
Van Clunen trying to go up and under, nice move.
Good bounce back for Van Clunen. Struggled inside the other night against Villanova, missed a couple chippies right in front of the rim. They've gone back to her here early on.
A couple of those lob passes inside. That height, trying to get over the top. Barnes trying to find the first bucket for Georgetown. Can't do it. Gets her own board. This one will go.
Nice play by Barnes. Second effort. She just had a scorer's knack for the ball. She's going to continue to be aggressive. A miss or two early is not going to deter her.
Yeah, Barnes on the campaign, averaging almost 12 and a half. Number one option for the Hoyas. Van Clunen with the mid-range jumper goes down.
She saw one go in, and now that step-in jumper gets a little bit easier. One of the things Marquette's talked about all year is being a resilient team. They haven't lost 2 games in a row other than once to start the conference year. Individually and collectively, you're seeing a bit of a response from a tough loss the other night.
And a really good attitude with Coach Duffy talking to us about it. Kovačíková, little mid-range, gets it to go. Duffy saying that really, you know, that early season road trip against tough teams, including DePaul, they kind of went into it saying, look, as an offensive foul be called here, but said that into Coach Duffy, as we'll see her right now, that really it was all about kind of coming in and not worrying about the output so much, just kind of the effort and the play, and kind of take care of itself.
It's a group with a lot of players that are getting big minutes for the first time in their college careers. They've done an excellent job overperforming expectations, picked 9th in the Big East, and now they're up at the top end of the league standings.
Give and go, Kailova can't control it. Kovačíková's there, count it, and a chance for a three-point play.
You see Georgetown guards willing to mix it up inside a little bit. They know they have a 3-point guard group. That's a couple loose balls now they've come up with inside the paint.
So Kovačíková will look to give the Hoyas the lead. And can't hit it, so. So 6-6 game. As Kovačíková can't hit the foul shot, but Hoyas don't want to get behind early. They've had trouble scoring it so far, scoring along with Marquette, but there's Lott with a strong move to get to the line. There's Jimmy Howard. He's the head coach of the Hoyas, 3rd season. And again, this one after 2 pretty good campaigns, kind of getting away from the Hoyas this year.
They've got a chance here to finish the season by moving up a little bit in the standings. They're looking for a home win. It's been a bit of a struggle at home. But a game right here, you know, not necessarily expected to win looking at the standings, but this Georgetown defense has been pretty consistent.
The other thing that Coach Howard really, in talking to him, said, look, you know, we've got a lot of players coming back, and this is kind of a building late in the season for next year. Obviously, we'd like to send the seniors out right, but a lot of good opportunities for some players to get experience and get better for next year. Lava kicks. Jones takes the 3. That one's on the mark. Brianna Jones from deep.
Caleb is an unselfish big. Her scoring is picked up, but right there she reads the help coming from the top of the key. That's a nice pass off the dribble to an open shooter in Jones. Pass
down low, nice feed to Anderson, has it blocked by Kailova.
Kaleva leads the league in block shots. You see it right there. She's got longer arms than people realize.
Kovačíková off the mark. Marquette on the run. Now back to the top as King calls it out. You mentioned before for moving to the point guard, kind of for the good of the team. Expecting to kid her off the ball next year, really show off her scoring potential. Lott, nice move down low, doesn't fall. Sagi Arese. Kovačíková kicks it. Contact down low, no call. Loose ball. Anderson will come away with it.
4 or 5 times now Georgetown's been able to penetrate into the paint. Marquette's going to have to keep that ball outside the lane so they don't have to send that second and third defender to help.
It was a staple of the Hoyas last year. Had a few folks who could put it on the deck. This time through the air, it's Van Clunen to give Marquette the lead. Coach Duffy telling us, Eric, about that fundamental game that Van Clunen has.
She can do a lot of things. She can score inside with a jump hook. She's faced up now a couple times and made mid-range jumpers, and she's also a good passer for a big.
That'll take us to a timeout. Marquette with a 1-point lead on Georgetown, 10-9 here in our nation's capital as Marquette looking to stave off the Hoyas.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
We're all in, all together. Great voices right at the start, great energy. We're getting excited about what we do, all right? You know how together you are. You know how hard you're gonna work, but you also know how good you are. Let's go, Storm. 1, 2, 3. Together!
This is our time.
When we bring it together and we all locked in, we coming back in this locker room with a victory.
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
Stand up stronger. I got the power, gonna raise it up. So high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead. We got to raise it up.
And welcome back to our nation's capital. Let's take a look at the series history between the Golden Eagles and the Hoyas. And again, Georgetown just 4-19, 3-8 record at home. Of course, last time out, it was definitely all Marquette with that 22-point win.
Marquette clearly has been one of the better teams in the conference for the last several years. They've been a tough team to defeat, home and away. Obviously, they had some pro-level talent the past couple years. Natisha Heidemann now plays for the Connecticut Sun in the WNBA. It's been hard to get a win against the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, again, that Golden Eagles team under Carolyn Keeger the last few years, very good, and Megan Duffy trying to continue that. And again, it's been a solid start for Coach Duffy. Again, played for Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame, has really come in, and with a lot of that talent going away, some of the backups from last year kind of rising up and raising their level of play to get this team where it has been.
In a way, it gave her an opportunity for a fresh start. You know, so they had a really excellent team with a group of players that have played a lot of games together. She kind of was able to come into Marquette and put her own imprint on the program. A lot of these players getting more opportunity. 6 freshmen on the roster who have played minutes this year. That's going to be the bedrock for her team going forward.
Golden Eagles with a 1-point lead. Now in Cameron Taylor. Golden Eagles can play up to 10, but normally around 7 to 8. Taylor there, a good look, and puts it away.
I think Taylor's one of the most intriguing young players in the conference. She can do a little bit of everything. You can see right there posting up. She's a good active defender. She's going to be one of their primary players for the next few years.
Taylor, one of the youngsters that Megan Duffy telling us we don't really have one or two keys off the bench as Barnes will be fouled. It's more of kind of depending on situation and getting extra folks in there, and I think it's probably more for a more connected and invested team because everyone gets a shot.
It is, and he's freshman. She's basically said she's tried to sprinkle him in throughout the rotation. I think it's a tough call right there on Taylor. Good rotation, straight up and down, but she gets whistled. That's a freshman call maybe against a grad student.
So Barnes making the first on the season. Around 82%. So Barnes hits 2, and a 1-point lead for Marquette.
Interested to see. We'll see if Georgetown decides to extend pressure at all. Villanova's pressure gave Marquette some difficulty the other night, but they're getting into their half-court offense right now.
Taylor with another bucket. So coming off the bench with some quick scoring for the freshman. And again, that size advantage you talked about, Eric, it's definitely apparent right now. Even in a 4-guard lineup, this is a little small for the Hoyas in a 4-guard lineup.
It's tough. They don't have many great options to combat Marquette's size. Marquette's been a dominant rebounding team most of the year.
Barnes making the bucket and may have a separate foul underneath the basket.
I think Kaleva was trying to crash the offensive board and got wedged out underneath.
So that will go on Taylor, so she'll take a seat.
It's a strange college rule right here, by the way. Georgetown now gets possession back on that foul. In the pros, that'd be an and-one free throw for Kaleva. But instead, now Georgetown with the chance to get a 4 or 5 point possession.
Here's the drive. Sagiresi can't hit it, had a good look. Lob ahead for Anderson, gathers and puts it home.
That's a tough catch and finish, and maybe an even better pass by Lott over the top of the defense.
Talked about Lott's playmaking ability, something she's almost had been pulled out of her. Megan Duffy saying early in the season she kind of just considered herself a defensive stopper. Said, no, we need you to make plays. Go ahead and do it. There's a play made by Brianna Jones.
It's good to see Jones in a little bit of a rhythm early. She's kind of been up and down with her jump shot this year. That's a couple now from the perimeter.
And nice move inside, drawing the foul, Anderson. And that should go on Jones. It will. It'll be her first.
Anderson's had an impressive year for Marquette. Somebody who basically didn't produce much for 3 years, was stuck behind some really good players, and now has had a huge impact at both ends of the floor and on the glass.
You love to see stories like that where someone waits their turn patiently, and in addition to that, they say she's just been so good, can guard spots, and I think the key phrase from Megan Duffy was, she will work really hard and do exactly what you tell her to do, which is a coach's dream, as you know.
Yes, amongst the league leaders in block shots, rebounds. She's just been an impact player even when she doesn't touch the ball.
So Anderson will check out as Chloe Murata in for Marquette. Tatiana Thompson onto the floor for the Hoyas. Thompson, Jr., out of Florida. And a little pressure from Marquette. Sandra Gordon in. She's someone who can add some outside shooting for the Hoyas. Kind of been waiting on her all year as Barnes hits the 3.
That's pretty good defense there by Marquette. Barnes with a tough shot. Contested 3.
Spingola with the answer.
I think this is more the type of game Marquette wants here. Some up-tempo, get Georgetown out of this half-court offense and really push the pace and see if Georgetown can hang.
Hoyas were very comfortable playing at this pace a couple years ago, but again, not the same defense as Kaleva dishes off. Kovačíková short on the jumper. Pass up ahead, Lott has it stripped, and they'll say it's off of Barnes.
Coach Duffy talked to us the other day about at some point this team's going to push the pace more, and you've seen now 3 or 4 times already in transition where they're looking for the long outlet pass over the top. Clearly something they're working on.
And she said early in the season, just maybe from depth concerns and getting everyone on the same page, it didn't play as fast as she would like, but you're exactly right, Eric. They have gone and tried to push it with those long outlet passes. Here comes Spingola, pulls up at the foul line off the mark.
2-for-1 opportunity for Georgetown here if they go quickly, but I think at this point they're just going to try to get a good shot.
Here's Gordon, marked closely by Lubo. One of the freshmen on this Marquette team. It's funny, you look at putting together a roster, you just look freshman. They got a lot. Under 5 on the shot clock. Georgetown doesn't know. Thompson has to throw one up, and it hits. Three-pointer, Tatiana Thompson.
You know, they expect Thompson to give him an offensive punch. I don't know if they thought about head fake step through threes at the end of the shot clock, but that's what she does. She's a big that can face the rim.
And Lott called for the offensive foul as Barnes draws it.
All of a sudden, Georgetown with a chance to take the lead. Barnes, nice job moving her feet there on Lott.
4.4, plenty of time for Georgetown to get off a shot.
I think Marquette's going to try to pick up here and see if they can deny Barnes, make somebody else make a play, but she's got a chance to get it on the run.
Tapped by Lubo, so they'll take a little time off the clock and make for a tougher inbound.
Tough now, pinned against the sideline, can't move on the inbounder. Marquette's got to make this pass go away from the rim.
Do it perfectly. Will Barnes get a shot off? She will, and that is off the backboard and no good. Really good first quarter here in D.C., and plays like this keeping Georgetown in it. Thompson, 4-3.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi Money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
You're watching Georgetown Women's Basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
See the Georgetown huddle there. Hoya's happy, 21 points on the board for them. Let's take a look at some of our other scores from around the Big East. A couple interesting games today when it comes to playoff positioning. Of course, Butler, they're fighting out with Marquette for that number 2 spot. The other one, of course, is huge right now. It's Villanova with a late lead on DePaul. Of course, Eric, this is Harry Peretta's last regular season game as a head coach, that long tenure with the Cats.
Oh, there's no way he'd rather go out than getting a win over a ranked team at home. Harry's been doing it forever. Villanova's got a good team this year, a team that expects that they can contend in the Big East Conference tournament.
And it was actually funny talking about Villanova and, of course, his offense, which is so hard to prepare for. And talking to Jimmy Howard yesterday, he said, you know, we held them to 50 points. We think we're going to win that game. And, of course, they scored 40. But, again, that's always such a tough team to prepare for what they do up in Philly.
All of a sudden, Nova's defense has become a real factor, too. They held Georgetown to 40, held Marquette to 47 the other night. You can see they got DePaul in the 50s. DePaul usually in the 80s and 90s. They got DePaul in the 50s late into that game.
So it'll be interesting to see if they can do that. What a way to send Coach Peretta out, at least when it comes to the games played up at Villanova. Tie score as we open up the second quarter. Interesting to see if the Hoyas can keep this up.
They've cleared one major hurdle. They've really struggled in first quarters this season. Just the fact that they were able to get 21 on the board early, they've had a hard time settling into games. Maybe they can pick it and continue at this point.
Kaleva showing off her game. That's something that they said it's there. They see it in practice, just translating it to the games.
She's picked it up the last 8 or 9 games in the conference season. Her offense has come around a little bit. A lot of it's just her taking her time and settling into her shot.
Steal there. Is Caleb up part of that? Hoyas a chance to increase their lead. Sagiaresi cut off. Caleb a baseline jumper a little too hard.
A rebound there by Chloe Murata, who's a good rebounder from Marquette, and more importantly, a graduate of Homestead High School in Mequon, Wisconsin.
23 all after that bucket by King. There's Thompson after that crazy 3 earlier on. Sagiaresi off the mark on the 3, and here comes Marquette trying to take the lead back.
Marquette with a different lineup now. Jordan King able to get off the ball, which is probably a little bit more natural. She's more of a scorer. They're playing her and Lubo together, which gives them kind of a 2-point guard front.
Size advantage, obviously, at the guard spots as well. And Clunan. Turnaround, she'll be fouled on the way up, and 2 for the one they call Louie. We asked Megan Duffy a little more about that, and she kind of said, meh, kids just give kids nicknames, but kind of was a shortening of Louis Vuitton, so.
And Louie's pretty good with each hand right there. You can see Caleb planning on her going over her left shoulder to her right hand, all of a sudden spins back to her counter. She's tough to guard. She's not the quickest, not the tallest, but she's got a lot of different stuff to her game. You got to be ready for about, either shoulder, turn and face, all that stuff's in her arsenal.
In addition to her skill set, Coach Duffy saying that really has a strong, positive voice, calling her the best kid ever to coach, just a wonderful part of this team, and she's very glad to have her. At least 1-2 years left. Tiana Jones into the game for the Hoyas. Gordon with the pull-up. That one will not fall. Gordon has come on as of late, just was ice cold for the first half of the season from the outside, which is one of the strengths they brought her in for.
Coach Howard did a nice job letting her play through some of the bumps in the season.
That's off the mark, batted around, Thompson comes down with it. Yeah, Gordon had a nice one last time out against DePaul. She had 10 points, went 2 of 3 from the outside.
She's done a lot of things well this year. She's rebounded, she's defended as at the guard spot. She just couldn't get the ball to go in the hoop for about half the year. That's really picked up, shooting over 40% from 3 during the conference season.
Thompson with the fall away, misses it, but Kaleva's there. And it cycles back to 20 for the Hoyas. Georgetown coming in with just 5 wins. They have been competitive. Game against DePaul notwithstanding, the Blue Demons have done that to a lot of teams this year.
It feels like Georgetown's got to convert more of these second chance opportunities. They've really had some chances to go and get a lead here early on where they could play and settle into their defense. Just haven't converted. That's been kind of the story of the season for them.
King, Spingola on the block. Murata, they've got away with an extra step, but puts it up and in.
Again, you can see Marquette's post players able to use either hand. Murata faces, jabs through her right, and is able to come back and finish strong with her left hand.
Well, his brother played for the men's team at Marquette. This one off will go for Jones, excuse me. And that's part of that athletic game that she can provide.
Jones got some size for a wing, 6'2", and she has the ability to create a shot off the dribble.
Lubo, count it! And she'll go to the line for a shot.
That's bonus points for Marquette. Lubo's a nice distributor, settled into the backup point guard role. Hasn't been much of a scorer, but she sees a lane there and she gets downhill to her right hand.
So Lubo looks to extend out this Marquette lead.
Marquette really using their depth here. They've gone to their bench. They're able to mix their rotation a little bit more. Their flexibility among their front line between Anderson, Cameron Taylor. They give them different looks. They can go athletic on the glass. They can go a little bit more scoring on the block.
A pass intended for Kaleva down low, but a little too tall for the 6'3" senior out of Croatia. International flair for the Hoyas.
The rare senior who wasn't here or didn't go through senior night tonight. She's got another year of eligibility, and they'll be really happy to have her back next year.
Kaleva growing, especially if she can continue to find that offensive game. Here's the long-range three off the mark for Spingola. Hoyas could tie with a three. Thompson will take it and banks it in.
That was a more conventional look, but still a degree of the random there with a bank.
In two very interesting three-pointers for Tatiana Thompson so far today, but she has her Hoyas all tied up. Anderson down low, and she'll be stripped on the way up, but the Hoyas will be called for the foul as Georgetown talks it over down low, all knotted up in our nation's capital here at McDonough Arena.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
Stand up stronger. I got the power, gonna raise it up. So high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, and we got to raise it up.
All right, we gotta be all in, all right? We gotta make sure we play with great passion. You have felt each other and helped each other and allowed yourselves to be helped with that, all right? We've got a great opportunity to do that today.
This is who we are.
When you look to your left and you see your sister over there, you help her. Because what we are one. Let's bring it.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
The Big East Women's Basketball Tournament presented by Jeep returns to Wintrust Arena in downtown Chicago, March 6th through the 9th. All session tickets for the 2020 conference tournament are now on sale, starting at just $50. For tickets, visit www.bigeast.com/WBB tickets. Now, in this game so far, Eric, Hoyas have been helped by their three-point shooting, something that early in the season they didn't do all that well.
They really struggled in the non-conference, but as soon as the calendar turned and we got into conference play, Georgetown's picked it up, averaging 30% from the 35% from the three-point line in conference, and they're already 4 for 6 today. A couple lucky ones from Thompson on the step-through and then the bank. But that's a good sign for Georgetown. Their shooting's now getting a little bit more consistent, and it's allowing them to stay in a higher-scoring game.
Yeah, again, over the last few years, they did have some of those outside shooters, and Jimmy Howard thought that he would have those folks on this team, but just couldn't get them going because coming in, Jones had three-point ability, Thompson has some, Gordon obviously as well, but really, until later in the season, haven't really shown it.
Sometimes it just takes that little bit more experience. A couple of those players you mentioned are younger players, sophomores, Kovachikova, Gordon. They're settling in a little bit more, getting more used to being on the floor, and they've really shot the ball well in conference play.
So Anderson at the line. She looks to give the Warriors the lead. And she does not with the first. Coming in as a 57% free throw shooting. I think I just showed my age there. Called them the Warriors like the old days when I was a little kid. The Golden Eagles of Marquette.
The Al McGuire days.
Oh, good grief. I'm not that old. Maybe Rick Majerus and the other group around there. Tom Crean, Marquette with such a good history both in the men's and the women's game. Jones with a pull-up off the glass and rebounded by Marquette.
You see right there why Marquette's such a good rebounding team. Georgetown brings their best offensive rebounder in the game. They're able to keep Shania right off the glass.
And right there, you show a little bit of that skill set they were so excited about with Jordan King.
King turning on the Jets in transition. Marquette's really been aggressive early in the clock, and King's a scorer. She knows where the basket is. She's going to find a way to get to the rim.
So King, chance for the and one here. 72% free throw shooter on the season for the freshman. And cans that one, so, and here comes a little bit of pressure from Marquette, though they'll back out of it.
A little surprising, I think, that both teams haven't tried to pick up their pressure more. Both turned the ball over the other night. Marquette against Villanova and Georgetown against DePaul. I wonder if that's something we'll see in the second half of this game.
Wright there on the offensive board. Can't get it to go down, but she'll go to the line.
That's what Wright does. She comes in, she crashes the glass, about a rebound every 3 minutes she plays, and she gets to the foul line.
Yeah, Wright, just some amazing rebound totals she put up in her high school career, and obviously those don't always translate, but had a 30 rebound game in high school. That's amazing.
It is, and unfortunately she's been hampered a little bit by ankle injury. She's on a minutes restriction that's been pretty consistent throughout the season. We'll probably only see her 10 or 12 minutes, but she makes it count on the glass.
Right, can't knock down the first, and with a team that has issues scoring, a player like her, a player 20 to 30 minutes can make such a difference. Just those kind of maybe 10 garbage points you get a game from her, either scoring herself or setting someone up off an offensive rebound. So Wright misses them both. Lead stays at 4 for Marquette. King down to Van Clunen on the block, turnaround off the glass and good.
Really good at selling one way and coming back the other. Just a nice ability to finish wide, finish around length.
Marquette on a run, 6-0 over the last 104. Hoyas can use a bucket here.
You can see every time Georgetown tries to turn the corner, there's 2 or 3 bodies in the lane from Marquette.
Kovačíková with the big offensive board. Off the quick 3 from Jones. Down low, right. Nice look from Kovačíková.
That's a great pass. She kept her eyes on the opposite side of the floor, looked off the help defender in the lane, and was able to find Wright on the dive.
Easy bucket. Hoyas in this contest so far, shooting 41%. That'll be off of Marquette and Georgetown ball.
You can see Georgetown right there needs to try to disrupt a little bit more, especially on those wing entries. That was a point of emphasis for Marquette, is working harder to get that first entry pass so they can't get their offense off rhythm.
Under 3 to go in the half.
Same action here by Georgetown. Wing, pick and roll, shooters on the weak side.
Caleb, a nice dish, finds Wright for another easy deuce.
I think we're going to see a steady diet of that from Georgetown to end the half, putting Wright and Kovačíková in that wing pick and roll.
Van Clunen, nice cut and a good find for Anderson.
Great find by Anderson. Was willing to accept the double team right there, let her teammate Van Clunen dive to the rim and was able to find her on the cut.
Kovačíková with the runner off balance but takes the steal back and hits the bucket.
Kovačíková showing a little bit of everything right now. Maybe the ill-advised runner, but was able to stick with it. It's a couple of loose balls now. She's come up within the paint for second chance points.
That was big for Georgetown as there were 3 players down there. Marquette would have had numbers if they could have found the outlet. Here's Spingola with the answer.
An offensive explosion now, both ends of the floor. Just trading buckets out there.
I'll tell you what, this is for teams that struggled to score, especially Marquette in that game on Friday. These 2 teams getting after it on the offensive end today. Jones on the drive, offensive foul on Teyana.
Anderson, again, we've seen it a few times already. Anderson with good alertness to the weak side, willing to come over and put her body on the line. Might have still been sliding a little bit, but was she able to get her feet outside that restricted area? Sometimes when it's bang, bang like that, the officials are just trying to look down and see if somebody's in that circle.
Again, that drive from way out, saw it coming a mile away and able to get in a set position. Lubo. In the campaign, Golden Eagles averaged 67.5 points per contest. Knocked away. Lubo's there for the easy bucket.
A couple big plays offensively now by Lubo. 2 finishes inside, well above her scoring average for the season of just over a point a game.
Yeah, Wright went up for that one-handed board and threw it right to her. Lubo was Johnny on the spot. Jones takes the long 3, around and out, no good. Time for Jones, much better look than her last 3, a little more rush. That one was set.
Georgetown got another clean look off that same wing pick and roll action. Marquette sending bodies into the paint. That's an easy draw and kick there for Jones.
Down to 5 on the shot clock. Van Clunen, will she get it off? She does, beats the buzzer.
Van Clunen just plays at her own pace, doesn't get sped up, uses the last few seconds of the clock and just gets where she wants to go.
Kovačíková puts one up, no good, batted around. They'll call a foul on Marquette, I believe on King, as Wright goes down hard.
Fortunately for Marquette, they had fouls to give right there. Georgetown won't be shooting. Wright is a handful to block out. She got a running start from the perimeter. She's a tough one to move off the glass.
So Claire Cafis will come in with King picking up her second foul. Barnes puts it up and cans it at the buzzer. So a little momentum for the Hoyas as they go in at the half. Now down by 6, Marquette with the lead, and plays like this, Barnes on senior day coming up big.
You're watching Georgetown basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
Welcome back to McDonough Arena. 6-point game at the half. Marquette up on Georgetown. Let's take a look at our players of the week in the Big East. And again, Jalen Agnew, what a week for her. Again, big time against Providence. Also, Maddie Siegrist, the redshirt freshman, wins the honor as well as freshman of the week for Villanova.
Siegrist has played a huge role in Villanova making a late season push here up the Big East standings.
The women's honor roll, and of course Taylor Barnes having a nice day already here for Georgetown. She is on that as Barnes, again, really has powered the Hoyas through things this year.
Spolier for Butler, we've seen come in this building, have a good game against Georgetown. She is a tough one, just physical, plays kind of an off-rhythm game, and she's tough to defend.
Folks from both Georgetown and Marquette having fun here in our nation's capital. That popcorn looks good, kids. Bring us some. 6-point lead for Marquette over Georgetown here in D.C. Welcome back to Washington, D.C. This season, the final campaign for legendary Villanova head coach Harry Peretta, who's retiring after 42 years on the Wildcat bench. Part of Peretta's legacy has been the family ties of his program, no better exemplified than by Mary and Lisa Gadeka.
Everyone always assumed that I was going to come to Villanova, and obviously Villanova has always been a home to me because I grew up here basically coming to games and knowing Harry. I was comfortable coming in and being recruited here at a pretty young age. At the end of the day, obviously it was my decision and I knew I wanted to come here.
When we saw her from her junior to her senior year is when we knew for sure. But her sophomore to junior year, she started doing stuff and we were like, whoa, this kid's a little better than we think she is.
Not knocking my other kids, but I pretty much could tell by age 4 and 5, okay, not real athletic. Mary was always tough, coordinated, and she was taller than everybody else. And then I think high school. I think once we got into high school and she had to learn how to work hard, I thought, you know, she could play at a level. I just never thought it would be here or at this level.
For me personally, I actually ran Harry's offense in high school, so I had a little bit of an advantage coming in surprise.
Most high school teams aren't going to run that kind of system. To get a player from a program that one of my former players coaches, whether it's Lisa or anybody else, is a big home run for us because that kid comes in already ahead of the other kids that are coming in with her.
I think just understanding that Harry and the other coaches obviously foster such a relationship and an environment based on not only athletics but academics, and understanding that we are student athletes. They always have our backs no matter what the situation is, and they're always there for us both on and off the court.
She's just a representation of what we're trying to teach here. We're trying to teach, first of all, be a student, and then second of all, be an athlete, and then when you're an athlete, try to play unselfish basketball in a system where you're going to be asked to do many things, so you have to evolve your game.
I think the benefit for playing in our offense is that we have so much freedom. I mean, obviously we do have a set where they'll tell us to run a specific number, but you know, if that look isn't open, we can do something else.
Lisa was the most intense player maybe in the history of this program. So in some ways I'm happy she doesn't have all of her mother's characteristics, but she has a lot of her mother's characteristics in terms of her tenacity, her playing hard, her mobility, and just her knowledge of the game that Lisa gave her coming into here.
I think her toughness, her will to want to win, she's very unselfish, and I think her goal is she doesn't care how many points she scores. If she scores 30 and win, great. If she scores 2 and we win, great. That never changes, and I always was like that as a player also.
They're hard workers. They're very loyal to the program. They're loyal to the school. They're natural recruiters for us. They are most indicative of the people that we try to get here.
You're watching Georgetown Women's Basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men, for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
Kids enjoying themselves at Georgetown as the Hoyas trail Marquette by 6 at the half. Big East Fast Break is the weekly women's basketball show hosted by Megan Caffrey and Ashley Leotis, breaking down everything in Big East women's hoops. You can catch all new episodes of Fast Break during the season every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. on the Big East Twitter and YouTube pages. On this week's show, Megan caught up with DePaul senior Shantae Stonewall after the Blue Demons clinched a share of the regular season title.
For the 6th time in the last 7 years, the DePaul Blue Demons have won at least a share of the Big East basketball regular season title, as I'm now joined with senior forward Shantae Stonewall. Shantae, your team clinched at least a share of the regular season title in your final home game as a DePaul Blue Demon. How special was that moment for you?
It was super special, and to be able to do that on our senior night just meant the world of Kelly and I.
You just mentioned Kelly Campbell right there. You and Kelly are the only two seniors on this year's squad. How would you describe your relationship with Kelly?
Oh, it's great. It's definitely come a long way from being competitors our freshman year, trying to find our place here at DePaul, to being kind of like a dynamic duo on the court. It's been great, and it's awesome to see how she developed and I developed, and just we're super excited for the rest of our season. We definitely want to lead by example for our younger ladies. We're definitely verbal when it comes to making sure they understand what DePaul ball is all about. And I feel like we've done a good job by teaching them.
In your 3 of your 4 years at DePaul, your team has won at least a share of the regular season title. How is this program, able to perform at such a high level so consistently?
I feel like our coaches do a great job making sure that we compete in practice. Also, we are very educated about our tradition here at our program, and that we are walking in a legacy or setting legacies for players after us. So I feel like we do a good job of reminding each other of what DePaul ball is all about. Setting goals every year is another big key of ours, and just making sure that we're focused every game and making sure that we execute every game.
Shantae, you mentioned it a few times now, so I have to ask you, DePaul ball. Big East women's basketball fans know what DePaul ball is, but what's your favorite part about DePaul ball?
When I was being recruited, I always said the pace, not really truly understanding what that meant. It's a lot of up and down, very entertaining for outsiders to watch. It's definitely like an up and down kind of basketball style. Freelance offense, you have the greenest light in America. Very fun to watch and very fun to play as well.
As a freshman, you averaged 5.4 points per game. Now as a senior, you lead your team in scoring, averaging 17.4 points per game. Where has been your biggest area of growth in your game?
I would say just being able to read the defense, using my versatility to the maximum, finding myself in the right places, and continuing to run the floor. As you see when I play, I'm a very up and down player. So being able to get in shape, stay in shape. My fitness takes me a long way, and like I said, go back to my versatility, using all aspects of my game, whether that's a jump shot, playing with my back to the basket, being able to put the ball on the floor. Bruno has helped me develop my game a lot, and so I'm just here to show it off my senior year.
You are an Illinois native yourself. You're from Normal, Illinois. What has the experience been like being able to play college basketball in your hometown city?
It's wild. Like you mentioned, Normal is not even 2 hours away from Chicago. So I definitely have a strong support system. Growing up, they always said, like, you're going to do big things on the next level, speaking regarding college. So it was great to see how all my past supporters still support me to this day. I definitely go back to my high school every opportunity I get just to give back, to talk to old professors, talk to my high school coach, because they definitely had an impact on me growing up.
You deep dish pizza type of girl?
No, not a huge fan of deep dish.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you got to give you have to let all of us know, if we're not going to get Chicago deep dish, then what is a Chicago must eat?
Ooh. We have pre-game bonas. That's really good. Post-game, you know what? Illuminati's, they have really good wings, so I will go with that for sure.
All right. What type of wings are we doing? We doing boneless barbecue, or are you doing a little buffalo?
Boneless barbecue wings for sure.
Barbecue, my type of girl. I love it. Shantae, thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to Washington, D.C. with Marquette with a 6-point lead on Georgetown. Jeremy Huber, Eric Thibault with you. Eric, your thoughts on the first half? Hoyas hung in there, but expended a lot of energy doing it.
It's been a high-tempo game. We've seen both teams score in bunches. Georgetown's done a lot of things they've wanted to do in terms of the game plan, but Marquette's found a way to score, and they've scored 21 points in each quarter.
Let's take a look at our stats in this one. Some interesting numbers so far in this contest, as Georgetown right now shooting it pretty well from the outside. They're 4-9 from three.
And they did. They got off to a hot start from the outside, got the help of the glass on 1-3 and a couple buzzer beaters. But Marquette's just kind of pounded away in the lane. They got 24 points in the paint. You can see they're winning the rebound margin, which is to be expected. And Lauren Van Clunen from Marquette's really set the tone inside.
And let's take a look at Van Clunen's work from the first half, as Van Clunen has done a little bit of everything.
Couple face-up jump shots. She's had her back to the basket. She's been able to shake to each shoulder. That's her patented move right there, that shoulder fake one way and then turn back the other way. And she's already got her season average now, 11 points at the half.
And it's funny, of course, we'll take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard. And right now we see it, the big shocker, Villanova, huge win over DePaul.
Maddie Segrest, who we talked about during halftime, with a big game for Villanova, 29-13 to give Harry Pareto a win in his last home game.
Yeah, again, Villanova, what a performance by them. Elsewhere, Butler, key game for them to win, with Marquette winning as they race for that number 2 spot in the league. Of course, Creighton also with the lead over Xavier, and then bottom end. We see Van Clunen there. Of course, we talked about the nickname Louis Vuitton. Maybe it's fitting. We're in Georgetown, some high price shopping in this area. The player goes by Louis Vuitton as a nickname. We'll be having a good game.
Took a little stroll down M Street. Is that what you're suggesting?
We actually talked to some of their support staff. They said that they had a chance to check out the MLK Memorial, a couple memorials, and looking down the mall. So they had a good time on their day off yesterday, and another bucket for Marquette.
Van Clunen picking up right where she left off. That coming back to that left hand. That's such a big ability for a post player to be able to finish with both hands.
Megan Duffy saying fundamentals so key with Van Clunen showing it off today. Asagi Aresi for 3 off the mark. And here comes Marquette with a chance to make it a double-digit game. Anderson cut off, and a walk will be called on the senior.
Really good job there by Georgetown, who switched, and they were going to get stuck with a mismatch inside. Kaleva did a good job recognizing, coming over and taking Anderson on the roll. Kind of caught her off guard and forced her into the travel.
Hoyas trailing by 8, and Barnes let that one go right through her hands. Possession arrow will keep it with the Hoyas, but again, right now, focus key for the Hoyas. They had some issues early in the season, especially coming out in third quarters.
One of their keys to their success in the first half of this game was they took care of the ball. Only 3 turnovers in the first half. They can't afford to get sloppy here, especially as Marquette builds an 8-point lead.
Asagi Aresi. Down low. Kaleva back up to the top. Kovačíková Now Caleb on the runner, does not fall, and now have a foul called. It looks like this will be on Spingola.
Looked awkward inside. Looks like she just kind of caught Kovachikova with her right arm maybe, or left arm as she came across the lane. Didn't look like a lot.
So the off arm, Spingola caught with a hand in the cookie jar. And Hoyas will come back. Jones puts up the three and out, no good. Lob inside for Anderson. Help comes.
Clearly a point of emphasis from Marquette today to look for those passes over the top in transition. Their posts have run down the floor and tried to seal their defender on the high side.
Pass across, stolen by Jones. She'll take it the other way, in on Spingola, and can't finish. And a foul to boot.
Tough not to convert there for Georgetown, but I think that's going to be the key for them to get back in this game. Able to force Marquette into some turnovers, 8 in the first half. They've got to amp their pressure up a little bit and take some risks defensively to try to create some offense.
And on that layup, your trained coach's eye, is that too much trying to avoid the block shot?
I think she expected Spingola to challenge a little bit harder, and Spingola just pulled her arms back and made her make it a tough shot on the run.
Be a second quick foul on Kaleva. So picked up one under the bucket, now one wrestling around with Van Clunen in the post.
Georgetown going a little bit bigger now. They're going to go Wright and Kaleva together, hopefully stay out of some of these mismatches on the inside.
Clunen off to Spingola. They'll find Lott in the corner. Just 2 points in the first half for Lott. Van Clunen misses. This time, jump ball. It'll be a possession arrow for Marquette.
You can see Marquette really trying to play in the interior. Georgetown's pressure on the perimeter has done a good job on Spingola and Lott. They've gotten out, they've extended their pressure, but that means Marquette's got some room inside.
Spingola off the mark, batted around. Kaleva comes down with it and has it knocked away from behind by Lott. King, nice dish, and a bucket for Anderson.
Good job by King there, anticipating Wright sliding over to take the charge. Just kind of released it early and avoided her.
A double-digit lead for Marquette. Boys could really use a bucket here. Barnes going to try to provide it, but Anderson with the block saves it in bounds. King comes away with it, and we'll have another jump ball, this time to Georgetown, as it looks like Megan Duffy was trying to call timeout, but behind the play.
Phenomenal effort by Anderson. I mean, she's been everywhere. She's on the glass. She's altering shots. That's why she's one of the league leaders in block shots right there. Her length is excellent on the inside.
On that replay, it looked like as she blocked it off a Georgetown player, she might have been able to let it go out. Instead, knocked away here, and here comes Spingola. Lott lines up a three, count it. Jimmy Howard has seen enough. He's going to take a timeout as Marquette on fire right now as they have ridden their lead out to 13 points here in our nation's capital.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
All right, we gotta be all in, all right? We gotta make sure we play with great passion. You have felt each other and helped each other and allowed yourselves to be helped with that, all right? We've got a great opportunity to do that today.
This is who we are.
When you look to your left and you see your sister over there, you help her. Because what we are one. Let's bring it.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
Only 3 turnovers for Georgetown in the first half. 2 early ones here. Eric, this one cost them.
And this is a sign of a maturing team in Marquette. Lott and Spingola, who struggled a little bit offensively in the first half, have stayed with it. They've played on the defensive end. It's amazing how the game gets easier offensively if you just stay with it and do the right things defensively.
Remaining schedule for the Golden Eagles, it's just one in the regular season. It's a big one, though, as they will take on DePaul. Of course, chance maybe to make a statement if you're Marquette before the Big East tournament.
I'm sure Marquette's looking at that as a potential matchup either in the semifinals or the finals of the Big East tournament. You know, they lost early in the conference season to DePaul. I'm sure they'd like to get their revenge.
So Georgetown out of that timeout by Jimmy Howard will look to regroup in a game that really they kept close the entire first half, but kind of got that lead out to 6, and now Marquette starting the second half on a 7-0 run. So Georgetown in need of a bucket as a little extended pressure here by Marquette.
Marquette can smell some blood right now. They got a chance to blow this game open. They're going to extend their pressure, try to take away whatever Georgetown had drawn up out of the timeout.
Instead, they give up an easy bucket for Kaleva.
Good find by Kovachikova. She does really have good vision. She's, got some height, 5'11" point guards, able to see over the top of the defense.
That was big to stop the bleeding for Georgetown. Van Clunen, turn around in the lane, no good, right with the rebound. Kovachikova down the lane, can't make the layup. Now Lott fouled, count it, chance of the three-point play. Eric, what a turnaround.
That's a back-breaking, we always say you miss a layup at one end. That's usually not going to end well at the other end of the floor. Marquette able to take it off the glass. Georgetown's got somebody out of the play. They're able to get now a chance to turn it into 3.
51-38, the lead for Marquette as Lott will raise it up one more. Lott on the season, averaging just over 14.5 points per game, and under that today, but still plenty of time. She's now got 7.
Georgetown's done a nice job on there in the half court, but you can see right away 6 transition points here early in the third quarter to get herself going.
Jones almost losing control. She'll take the 3 from the wing. That's off the mark. Kaleva with the board, and they'll call a foul on Marquette.
Right again on the offensive glass, just working her way inside. Just uses her hips, her lower body to get position. Marquette with nothing to do but foul her on the inside.
Anderson called for the foul. It's just her first. Wright in the lane, off the glass and good.
You can see why Shania Wright would really help this Georgetown team. She can get healthy and stay healthy. She gives them something different off the bench.
Van Clunen. Open space, can't hit it. Spingola got the board. Now back to Van Clunen, and that goes.
She has really wanted the ball today. She's posting up hard. She's pursuing on the offensive glass. Determined to put something right from the other night when she struggled at Villanova.
Van Clunen, 15 points of 7 of 12 shooting. She's been efficient today for the Golden Eagles. Barnes on Van Clunen and gets the kind roll.
That's a good sign for Georgetown. They got to get Barnes going a little bit. She had a strong first half. It's been pretty quiet here early on in the second.
That's her first bucket of the second stanza. Back to a 12-point deficit. Shot is off the mark. Second chance points. Georgetown leading that stat at 8-6.
And I think Georgetown would take being even on the glass. As good of an offensive rebound team as Marquette is, if they can neutralize that, I think they feel they can stay in the game.
Kovachikova on the dish, right, stuck in a bad spot, and it'll be a turnover for the Hoyas. 12-point lead for Marquette here in our nation's capital. Georgetown trying to find their way back into this one.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi Money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men, for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
You're watching Marquette Women's Basketball on the Big East Digital Network.
Let's take a look at the Hoyas' upcoming schedule. Georgetown trying to finish out their campaign strong. And again, they'll be at Providence. Possible matchup in the first round of the Big East tournament. Then they'll be at Creighton. Always a tough matchup.
I think we get a lot of miles in the air here the next couple of weeks for the Hoyas. That's that travel partner trip that's always a little funny in the Big East, the Providence Creighton trip, and then they'll turn around a few days later and go back to Chicago, as you mentioned, for a potential first-round matchup with Providence.
Again, Hoyas trying to finish things out as just 5 wins on the season after a bevy of WNIT appearances, deep run last year. But again, the Hoyas different team. Marquette a different team too, though, this year. And one team maybe has taken to losing some of their stars a little better than the other one has.
And Marquette, you know, a group that those players, even though they didn't play a lot, were playing every day against high-quality players in practice. Players like Van Clunen and Selena Lott were ready for this time.
Sure, and they have taken full advantage of their opportunities. Lubo, Taylor, Lott, Anderson, and Spingola out there, so Van Clunen getting a break on the bench, a well-deserved one, as she has 15 points, leading scorer in the contest. Knocked away, and Kovačíková comes away with it.
We've been beating that drum a little bit, but Georgetown's got to find a way to force some turnovers defensively to give themselves some extra possessions.
Here's the drive. Jones will pull up and count it. So Jones finding that outside shot that's in the bag.
Jones getting to play more of her natural position now. They're playing a bigger lineup with Thompson and Kaleva. Jones moves over to the 3. A little bit more of a natural matchup for her. She can shoot over the top.
Down low, Anderson cut off. Spingola open look for 3, off the mark. And offensive foul against Marquette.
Georgetown dodges the bullet there. I don't know if you need to double team when Kaleva is guarding the post up. She's a good enough shot blocker to play one-on-one on the block. They dodge a bullet, helping off of Spingola and leaving her open for a 3.
Now Van Clunen will come back in, so quick break. Taylor out after picking up her 3rd foul. A little ball pressure in the backcourt. One's cutting into that lead. Made the 3 their last 3, almost taken away by Lott. Barnes, floater in the lane, doesn't go, and Van Clunen comes down with the board, almost walks as he dragged that pivot foot.
A design play there for Barnes to get an ISO at the top of the floor. Got a good look, just got to finish it.
Been big, but he got it down to a single-digit deficit. Missed for the Hoyas after making 3 field goals in a row. Now 2.5-minute scoring drought for Marquette. Megan Duffy sees it, and she's going to take a timeout. Wants to make sure her team gets a good possession here. So what do you think she's drawing up in the huddle right now?
It's interesting to look. They put Van Clunen back in the game. She's had it going. Potentially trying to get her another touch in the post. Lott and Spingola both on the floor, gives them options on either wing. I don't know exactly what she'd be wanting to come back to other than Van Clunen's been so consistent on the inside.
You were on staff with Megan Duffy at St. John's. What kind of coach is she?
She's, you know, not a whole lot she can't do. Megan's always been a good recruiter, as we've seen with the class they have in now at Marquette. Just really detail-oriented, just a great basketball mind. Was obviously a high-level player when she was at Notre Dame, and then played a little bit in the WNBA. But she, you know, she's not going to miss any details or important things like that. She's going to have a good stamp on this program over the next few years.
And in our conversations with her, she mentioned that. Again, that's the thing she learned most from Muffet McGraw was that attention to detail, and a chance there for Lott. Can't get it to go, but she'll draw the foul.
So instead of the post-up for Van Clunen, they went for the high pick and roll with Lott. She's found her rhythm a little bit more in this 3rd quarter, and they went back to her.
It was actually a funny story. She was going through and saying that Coach McGraw, when she played point guard for her, kind of would put her in situations and say, hey, go home tonight, figure out how to get us into this, how to get these players. And at one point, she said they were running some triangle offense stuff. She goes, oh, this would be setting up Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Interesting.
Does that make Michael Jordan on this team? Is that was that where we went with that one?
Well, the funny thing was I said to her, I said, yeah, you just missed YouTube. It could have gone back and just looked at old Bulls films on YouTube if you had been a little bit younger.
Coach Duffy, I mean, I think even when we were at Marquette, at St. John's, and she was early in her coaching career, there was no doubt that she was going to be a head coach at some point. Just had that profile, had that feel for the game and how to deal with players.
Kalo on the fall away, does not fall. So back to a 12-point lead for Marquette as they look to stretch it out. Still no field goals for them for an extended period as Van Clunen bids for one, can't get it to go. Shows Marquette locking in on defense as Marquette has not had a bucket in over 3.5 minutes, but still in that 12-point lead. Step back for Jones, that's off the mark.
And that's tough. Jones has made a couple of those tonight. I think Marquette's going to live with a certain amount of them. Tough, contested off the dribble jump shot over the top of the defense. The ball's not touching the paint. If she makes it, she makes it, and you tip your hat, but that's a tough shot to make consistently.
And early in this game, it seemed like Georgetown was making an effort to get into the paint, not so much anymore.
Nice job by Tatiana Thompson there. Again, Marquette looking for that pass over the top. She does a good job fronting and using her length.
Thompson tries to take it in. Nothing there. They'll back it back out. 15 seconds to go on the shot clock.
I was waiting for this right here. Georgetown, you're going to come back to this wing pick and roll. They had success in the first half. They haven't really come back to it. See, Kovachikova is able to make that read at the top.
A little contact, referees let him play on as Murata tried to draw the foul. Thompson, good game for her. She's got 8 points. Again, worried about with her, the motor, kind of getting that revved up. She's been there today, though.
As much as Coach Howard will appreciate her scoring, the fact that she's played good defense tonight made it tough for the ball to enter the post. He'll be just as pleased with that side of the ball.
Now Lubo will be called for a foul. So as we see the replay here, it's going to be the 4th team foul here in the quarter. So no shots yet.
If I'm Georgetown in this position, I'm going right back to that wing ball screen with Kovachikova and Kaleva. We're going to keep Thompson on the baseline, make it hard for Marquette to make a decision where they want to help on the roll.
Here comes that pressure that Marquette really hasn't used all that much today. Thompson takes the 3 in transition off the mark. It'll stay with the Hoyas.
Georgetown's done a better job tonight than they did against DePaul when there has been pressure of getting their eyes up the floor, throwing the ball over the top, and using their advantage with numbers.
One of the things that Jimmy Howard said was more about the fact that they weren't kind of going to the right spots, kind of saying, hey, this is where you go with this, and just not remembering the lessons kind of learned in practice. Pull up by Kovachikova, partially blocked by King. Gets it back. And called for the walk.
Tough one. That's good defense by King on the drive. You can see the athleticism there. She's got beat half a step on the first dribble, was able to recover and challenge with her length and athleticism.
King, the 5'11 freshman out of Rockton, Illinois, a top recruit. Expecting her to really come on strong next year with her scoring, as she's had to play the point this year. Barnes almost takes it away. Shot clock is off. Now will be stolen by Kaleva. Hoya's got to push. 5 seconds. Thompson gets it off. Throw ahead. And does not get to Kaleva in time. So we will head to our final quarter with Georgetown off this nice pass. Thompson with the deuce. Down by 10.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
We're all in, all together. Great voices right at the start, great energy. We're getting excited about what we do, all right? You know how together you are. You know how hard you're going to work, but you also know how good you are. Let's go, Storm. 1, 2, 3. Together!
This is our time.
When we bring it together and we all locked in, we coming back in this locker room with a victory.
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
The Big East Women's Basketball Tournament presented by Jeep returns to Wintrust Arena in downtown Chicago March 6th through the 9th. All session tickets for the 2020 conference tournament are now on sale starting at just $50. For tickets, visit www.bigeast.com/WBB tickets. Marquette outscoring Georgetown 14-10 in that third quarter. Of course, considering the history for Georgetown this year in the third quarter, not bad for the Hoyas.
Not bad. Unfortunately, when they went into half with a deficit, they probably needed to come out and make a better start to the second half. They've been outscored by over 120 points in the third quarter this year, which is hard to explain considering they actually have turned around and won the fourth quarter more often than not, a plus 30 for the year in the fourth. So they're hoping they can make one more run here to get this game tight.
Yeah, that was a concern all year long for Jimmy Howard, and they've done different things trying to get them to play better out of the halftime break, and just has not been there. But hoping that they can come back in the fourth, cut into this 10-point deficit, make it a game. Of course, Marquette trying to salt this one away as they look for that number 2 seed. Again, Marquette coming from way down, picked at the bottom of the Big East in the preseason. That one off the knockaway ends up in the hands of Anderson and scores the bucket.
An unlucky bounce there for Georgetown. We saw him come out and play zone defensively there for really the first time tonight out of a timeout.
There's Jones. Pulls up at the foul line again. This time it goes.
That's her rhythm shot, left and up off the bounce. She can get it over a contest.
Jones, the graduate student out of New York, started her career at Louisville. It's come in for the Hoyas and scored nearly 10 points a game in her last campaign.
Here's the matchup zone again from Georgetown. You can see him trying to hand it off across the top of the floor.
King for 3 and does not get the bounce. Taylor's there for the putback.
Taylor gives them a dynamic athlete that they don't really have in their starting group other than Anderson. You can see just moving, constantly crashing the glass, using her length and athleticism.
It's big, as we talked about before. Megan Duffy saying out of that starting 5, and Anderson obviously starting today, but getting some of those pieces in, do different things, and obviously that athleticism piece provided by Anderson. And the 12-point advantage for Marquette. Lott setting it up as they attack that zone. Lott squeezes off the 3, count it.
That's one of the hardest things to handle in a zone is how you're going to play that ball screen. Right there, Georgetown was spread out across the top of the floor, couldn't get across to Lott.
And timeout Georgetown as they're now getting it away as Marquette starting to pull away in DC, up 63-48.
My parents never taught me anything about managing money.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
We just decided we didn't want debt any longer.
I didn't realize how easy investing could be. I'm picking companies that I believe in.
I think SoFi Money is amazing.
Thank you, SoFi.
SoFi, thank you. We love you.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
All right, we gotta be all in, all right? We gotta make sure we play with great passion. You have felt each other and helped each other and allowed yourselves to be helped with that, all right? We've got a great opportunity to do that today.
This is who we are.
When you look to your left and you see your sister over there, you help her. Because what we are one. Let's break it.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
Marquette fans in the stands. Of course, they'll be looking at the out-of-town scoreboard to see what their team is doing. Of course, the big news of the day in the Big East, the upset of Villanova, Harry Paredes' final regular season home game as a head coach, as his team beats DePaul, beats them pretty handily.
A big win for Villanova as they continue to move up the standings here late in the season. One I got my eye on there is that Providence-Butler game. This is a big game for Butler to keep pace with Marquette near the top of the standings, but Providence has won a couple close ones this year.
And of course, if Butler were to lose that matchup, Villanova would vault into third place in the conference. So again, one to keep eyes on. Right now, Marquette trying to salt this one away. Still plenty of time left, but a nice 15-point lead for the Golden Eagles.
Georgetown's got to find another way to get some offense. You can see right there Selena Lott making it tough for Taylor Barnes to get the ball back once she gives it up.
And Lott kind of turning it on in the second half. Kovačíková fouled by King. And early on, it's actually kind of flipped the script here as Kovačíková takes that one in and gets fouled. But again, just 3 points for Lott in the first half. Barnes with 11. Now Lott's turned it on and Barnes has gone cold.
Nice base and out of bounds play. Kovačíková sold it like she was coming over the top of the screen. Just made a hard back cut into the lane. Her and Barnes were on the same wavelength.
Lott feed that post. Anderson takes it in on Kaleva, and they'll call the foul.
That's a tough move by Anderson. Not too many bigs can catch it at the elbow and drive it to their weaker hand across the lane. Jab step one way, come back across the lane, and Kaleva, who's got great length, couldn't get to the extended arm of Anderson.
Kaleva picks up her third foul. King checks out as Lubo in.
I think a little bit of a defensive sub there for Marquette. Kings had a hard time keeping Kovačíková in front of her off the dribble. They're going to go with Lubo, who moves her feet well defensively, see if she can keep Kovačíková out of the paint.
Anderson trying to knock down another free throw. She cannot. Still has 12 points, her season high, 15 earlier in the campaign against St. John's. Yeah, another piece for Marquette coming on late in the campaign. Thompson with the pull-up. High, Harker doesn't go down.
She's given us the whole variety of trick shots tonight. That would have been a little too much, I think, if that one went down.
Anderson fouled. Kovačíková trying to say she kept the arm straight up, but definitely brought him down.
Feels like every time Georgetown hasn't been able to convert, Marquette has just run it back at them in transition. You know, we've seen a couple missed layups that have led to fast break points there. Marquette's able to take it off the glass and look for a post player run in the middle of the floor.
So Anderson back at the foul line. I remember one a couple years ago, right when early in 2 seasons ago when Marquette was just coming on as a power and Georgetown and one of their better teams, and they just went up and down for 3 quarters, and finally Marquette pulled away. But again, it was that type of game, Eric, where if you missed a shot, it was likely going in at the other end.
We referenced it earlier, but Coach Duffy has talked about this Marquette team at some point is going to learn to play with a little bit more pace, and we're seeing some ways when they can do that today. They've done a little bit more unconventionally, but playing quickly and looking for post-ups early in the clock.
16-point advantage for Marquette. Nice pass. Kaleva misses the layup.
Coach Howard talked to us the other day about missing layups has killed their offensive runs. He figured they missed about 8 layups the other night against DePaul. We've seen a couple here in the second half that would have helped cut into this lead.
It's kind of sporadic. Caleb looking good on the offensive end in the first half. That one, just an easy one, just kind of a little too hard on it. Lubo pulls up in the lane, no good. Williams trying to push. A little run here. Marquette gets back on D.
See these possessions where Taylor Barnes starts off the ball. She hasn't been able to touch it in good spots.
Caleb has that one block. Anderson there right on the catch.
Length on length right there. Two good shot blockers going at it at both ends of the floor.
And there, Anderson comes in averaging over a block and a half a game. Showing why right there. And now with a steal. Anderson takes it in, and Thompson will let her go.
Anderson's really had a nice game. She's been active defensively. She's been active on the glass, and she's had one of her better offensive games in terms of using both hands, finishing around the rim.
Boys haven't scored in over 2 minutes, and this one getting away from them. 18-point lead for Marquette. Well, a foul on Lott. Lott, such an interesting story. Megan Duffy telling us that, you know, she was really the defensive stopper with all the talented players from last year, and she eventually needed her to kind of step up and score, and they said that she at one point is kind of saying, I'm taking too many shots, coach, and Duffy can't believe it. Like, who says they don't want to take many shots?
I know, how many players around the country would love to have their head coach tell them they need to shoot 14 or 15 times? She's got the green light, and sometimes, you know, the person that gets in the way is herself, but she's really found a nice balance offensively this year between playmaking for her teammates and being aggressive when she needs to.
Lott will take the three, count it. Serena Lott coming on in the second half. She's got 16.
An efficient game, couple of threes. She's made all her free throws. She's come up big when they've needed her on the road.
Now Barnes will look to answer, cannot. Gets her own rebound, will be fouled by Lubo down low.
It took a little while, but Marquette's been able to free up Lott in the half court. As you can see, Barnes here crashing, following her own shot. Barnes has done a nice job this year getting to the line for Georgetown.
Thompson will check out. Tiana Jones in. Shannon Wright will also come in for Kalova as Barnes tries to end an 8-0 Marquette run over the last 3 minutes. 13-2 over the last 4:21 as Barnes with the free throw.
I think it's one of those games for Marquette at halftime. Even though Georgetown had scored possibly above their average in the first half, I think Marquette was okay with the shots that they were giving up. Georgetown had made some tough shots late in the clock. They made contested jump shots, and I think they just had to feel that they could trust their defense and play the same way they were playing.
Down Anderson. Spingola. Back out to Lott, and Lott will be called for a walk. And I want to get your coach's perspective on this, and something Megan Duffy kind of talked about. In a situation like that, is that big when you emphasize process over results, that if something like that happens where the other team hits crazy shots, you just kind of worry about doing your job?
For sure, you're trying to evaluate, you know, one, are we executing our game plan? And then you have to decide if it's the right game plan or not, or you need to make adjustments. I think they felt tonight like they had the right game plan. Georgetown made a few tough ones. You know, they tightened up a couple things in terms of their on-ball defense and taking away Barnes. But they just stuck with it, and they kept playing.
Nice move by Jones. Can't finish off the layup. Nice dish inside. Can't get the bucket from Lubo. Boyes with numbers. Barnes dishes off. Sagiaresi with the bucket.
And now we get it flipped the opposite way of what we've talked about. Marquette misses the layup at one end. Georgetown's able to get out and run in transition.
Cameron Taylor into the game as well for Marquette. Lott blows right past and puts it in.
What a great second half by Lott. Now she found her teammate on the play before. All of a sudden, Georgetown stays home and help a little bit more, and she's able to turn the corner to her right hand.
Lott, again, had just 2 points in the first half. Now she's sitting at 18. Contact will be on Anderson. It'll send Jones to the line to shoot 2.
Anderson got a little excited, jumped at Jones's head fake right there, but you can just see when you have a big like Anderson who's willing to take on a tough matchup against a guard and get out and defend, it really opens up your flexibility defensively. You can switch, you can change matchups. She's going to be key for them here down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, that was something Megan Duffy told us again, that the ability to guard those multiple spots. When you have a big that can do that, really makes it easier on the defensive end.
You can see she's experimented tonight a little bit with Anderson and Taylor on the floor together, and that really gives them flexibility at that end of the floor.
Good at the foul line, so Jones cuts into the lead, but still comfortable advantage for Marquette as we head down the stretch. Remember, one more conference game for the Golden Eagles. That'll be against DePaul coming up next week. Pass down low. Murata will be fouled. Wright and Jones both there. Will go on Wright.
Nice head fake. I think they're going to get right there just for bringing her arms down a little bit, breaking that plane of verticality. Murata's a nice player for Marquette. She comes off the bench, just kind of does what she does. Rebounds, scores a little bit when they need her to. She's a little bit undersized as a big, but only a sophomore, another young player on this Marquette team who's going to help them the next couple of years.
Murata, 70% foul shooter. Actually started 13 games this year, so kind of taking on more of a bench role now, but as you said, a key piece.
They've got nice versatility across their front line. They got Van Clunen, they got Murata, Cameron Taylor, who may be the most physically gifted of all their players, and then Anderson, who's we've seen tonight has a fantastic game.
Lott called for the foul as Jones a little frustrated.
It's tough. I think Georgetown is feeling frustration a little bit. Senior night, a couple of these guys, they want to get a home win here to close out the season, and they were in it for a half. Marquette, just as they have all year, just kept playing through their mistakes and has bounced back nicely from a loss the other night.
So Jones misses the first. She'll have one more, and that's off the mark. So 2 minutes to go, and we'll have an offensive foul on the Golden Eagles.
I'm interested to see Lubo here from Marquette the last couple minutes. She's played a little bit more tonight. Gives them a different look at the point guard position. She's got some size, she's got some length. They might need her to guard a tough matchup in the Big East tournament or even the NCAA tournament against a playmaking guard for another team.
Barnes throws it up, no good. Again, that tough defense by Marquette really shutting down the Hoyas in the second half. Just 20 points for Georgetown so far in the second stanza. Hoyas had 21 in the opening quarter, so Marquette figured out what the Hoyas were doing, able to shut them down. Murata down low, makes it. And looks like timeout on the floor. And maybe we're going to get a few of the substitutes in. Again, what are your thoughts, Eric, on maybe Marquette moving forward in conference play?
I think they have a couple natural advantages over a lot of teams in this conference. They've got some size, they got some flexibility among their lineup. They can play big, they can play small, they can play athletic, they can play a little bit more traditionally in the post with Van Clunen. They're going to be a tough matchup. I think they're excited to get another shot at DePaul, who's been at the top of this conference, and really test themselves from where they were at the start of the conference season. I think they have as good a shot as anybody going into the Big East tournament. And, a win or two in that tournament may solidify a spot in the NCAA tournament. And
what a season it would be for them to go to the NCAA tournament after all they lost, plus their coach. What a story it would be.
And I think sometimes that's just when you have a winning program, a team that's used to winning. Even so, some of their players didn't play huge minutes the last couple years. They were there every day in practice on a team that expected to win. And now just because you were picked 9th in the league to start the season doesn't really have much impact on once you actually line them up and it's time to go.
Sure. Backups into the game. It's Destiny Struther. Also Taylor Valladay in. Some playing time late in this one.
Getting a look at the future Marquette here team. All these freshmen on the roster. They've gotten a little bit of experience here and there, and they're going to be called on for bigger roles in the next 2 or 3 years.
Again, it was so funny putting together our materials, just looking at all those names with FR for freshmen next to them. Just amazing. As scooped by Kafis. That's off the mark. Second chance no good as Wright gets the board, and Kovačikova with it as we're under a minute to go in D.C. After this one, we're scheduled to check in with head coach of Marquette, Megan Duffy. Let's go about her team's performance. Right. Shot blocked. And Marquette can hold for the last one if they choose. Just run out the clock. Shot clock is off. Marquette fans come to their feet to salute the Golden Eagles as they are going to come away with a 76-56 win over Georgetown.
That's a big win for Marquette. A banana peel type of game. A slip up on the road against a team like Georgetown could really hurt their resume. Instead, they come in, they survive the first half, and they extend their lead.
We'll have more from our nation's capital right after this.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
We're different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
And welcome back to our nation's capital. We're lucky enough to be joined by Marquette head coach Megan Duffy. Megan, thank you for joining us. Again, your team early on, Georgetown gave you some trouble. Looked like you guys settled in and kind of had your way in the second half.
I mean, give Georgetown credit. They came out and hit shots. I felt like we had a hand in their faces, and they were shooting some turnaround jumpers. And, scouting them, we know they can get hot at different points, and we just kind of had to withstand a little bit of that wave of the offense. I thought our offense was moving good. We had Selena Lott on the bench. And one of our sparks, Cameron Taylor, who is a great spark usually for us offensively, had foul trouble, and we were kind of able to withstand the storm and then kind of got moving a little bit better in that third and fourth quarter.
Coach Duffy, this is first of all fun to be doing this with you, given our shared history. But Selena Lott, a little bit quiet in the first half. She's had a great year, and then you really got her going in the second half. Was there anything in particular you guys talked about to try to get her going?
Well, I kind of teased her there halftime. I go, now you got some fresh legs from sitting out that whole first half, it felt like. And she's such a key part of our offense. She's a great distributor. When she starts shooting the ball, too, we battle all the time of her taking more shots. I mean, what kid doesn't want to hear that? But I thought she stepped up. I thought her defensive pressure when she was back in that third and fourth quarter was really good. And it was just good after a really tough Friday night for us where we just didn't do anything right. To see them smiling and having fun and, celebrating a little bit more.
So now you got a week basically to get ready for DePaul, the last home game of the year, and then it's the Big East tournament. What's the key for you going forward, not only this week but beyond into the postseason?
I think first and foremost we're going to get a little rest, and a huge rivalry for us, Marquette, DePaul, and obviously DePaul has had a tremendous year, and to end the season with them, I mean, it's a great tune-up for March Madness, and I know I'll be excited to celebrate our seniors during that game, and then we'll see what we're made of. They've really been so good this year, and obviously they can score a whole lot, so our defense is going to have to be really good.
Coach Duffy, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the win today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course, Georgetown with the loss today on Senior Day. Marquette coming in showing exactly what they're made of. A big day for Megan Duffy's crew as they come away with the 20-point win. Again, to try to solidify their hold on second place in the Big East. For Eric Tebow, I'm Jeremy Huber saying good afternoon from our nation's capital.